Yo, welcome to WWLeeTV and the first ever podcast from WWLeeTV right here on the channel live as we speak. And tonight I have my guest, Ricky from the Black White Soul. Yo.
Hello and welcome to this inaugural podcast.
So this is our first one, guys, and we'll be alternating. So this week it'll be on my channel, next time it'll be on Ricky's. So keep checking back. I will be doing some tweets now, letting you know when these will be done. So tonight is our first one, and we thought we would address the current state of the WWE, talk about various topics, what we like, what we don't like, superstars we love, what we're looking forward to, what we're not, all that sort of stuff. So let's get things started. Right.
So I'd say let's have a little rundown of what happened this week on Raw. I think that's going to be showing us where we are at our current point. So I'll just get to it because it was my favourite segment. Kevin goddamn Owens, appearing for the Cena's Invitational.
Yeah, that pretty much made the whole event for me. Kevin Owens, I think he's going to be coming up to the main roster at some point soon, especially if he's going to be on a pay-per-view with John Cena. So
what do you know of Kevin Owens? Because you're not a constant NXT viewer like me.
No. I don't really know a great deal of Kevin Owens, but what I have seen from NXT, he's pretty damn awesome. And I learned a little bit about him last night on Raw. He's actually been wrestling longer than John Cena.
So have you just seen the match between him and Sami Zayn? Have you seen anything else of him, or just a little bit?
The match with him and Sami Zayn, which was amazing, and the rest of that has just been small doses. But from what I can see, I'm damn impressed.
I was going to say, so as someone that doesn't really know him, how did he come across against our main eventer of John Cena?
Confident, ballsy, and that guy has a different look. That's what I like about him so far. He's got a different look to everyone else. He's quite, he's big, not in a muscly way, bit of both. And he's just got this mean streak in his eye, which I really like. And he's confident on the mic. And that was his first Raw. So I like it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with Cena.
Oh, yeah. From watching him on NXT, I've been super impressed from the day he walked in the door. When you first saw his debut match and then him turn on Sami Zayn instantly. And just his promo style is it's just sort of cold and methodical. He's a different type of heel that we've not had for a while. He's a smarmy heel. He's going to cheat to win, but he can still just kick your ass. But it's going to be on his terms, as he's said.
How do you think he's going to fare against Cena at the pay-per-view?
I think, frankly, they'll have a goddamn awesome match. As I say, he's only had a few matches. They do save him. And I've seen him against Finn Balor, Sami Zayn. Against Alex Riley, actually managed to pull a decent match out of Alex Riley, which is fairly impressive. And I've seen stuff from when he was on the Indies called Kevin Steen. And just, again, some phenomenal matches. Of course, he wasn't allowed to use his indie finisher of a package pile driver because nobody's using a pile driver in this day and age. Well, look, the curb stomp's gone.
Yeah,
that's something we'll get to later.
Yeah, definitely.
One of my issues I have with him, you saw his pop-up powerbomb on John Cena, looked fantastic.
Loved it.
I think he's going to struggle against other people. John Cena is not a normal man.
No.
He can, if you've seen his choke slams he takes from Kane, where he almost leaps out of Kane's arms, he's got a high vertical leap. I do think he's going to struggle with someone like a Sheamus and Eric Rowan trying to deliver that move. He's a big guy, but he's not big by WWE standards.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I think he could be full of surprises, but I'm just going to look forward to the match and see what he can do. But I've got high hopes for him.
Definitely. And on the show, they gave him the connection instantly to Triple H.
I know.
That's a huge deal for him. And yes, he is having this match against John Cena at the Elimination Chamber in 2 weeks.
He is. So do you think when he wrestles Sami Zayn, is that a title match? That Sami Zayn match? Is it for
which
his
will be on
title? Technically
tonight. That is for the NXT title. Yes.
Can you see Sami Zayn winning?
No. I think it would be bad if Sami Zayn won. because especially because the fact they established that Kevin Owens is the NXT champion. This is the first time that they've acknowledged the champion. When they've had NXT people, they've just appeared. Like Charlotte hasn't been on with a title. When they first showed like Tyler Breeze, Sami Zayn, all that, I know they don't really mention who the title holder was. This time, Kevin Owens came out with his title. He holds it above the US title, as he showed by stomping on the US title and holding up the NXT one.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a huge thing for him to keep. And this is the first time they've sort of almost merged the worlds. Like NXT has been its own existence.
Yeah.
And this is the first time they've like, almost like in comic book terms, like a shared continuity.
Yeah. So that's what I really like about this whole thing with like him calling out. We've had Adrian Neville, we've had Sami Zayn, and now Kevin Owens. The fact they're acknowledging the X team more is letting the audience who don't necessarily know much about NXT, they're going to be intrigued now, and they're going to go and watch it and check out these superstars. So it's going to do nothing but good, for the audience. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this match that they have. And could he beat John Cena for the title?
I really do not know about that point. That's huge. But it's like, if a guy comes in and beats Cena, he is made. And something WWE is struggling for is sort of like they need that top tier talent.
Yep.
They're just not pulling the trigger on certain guys. Dolph Ziggler.
I know. Speaking of Ziggler on Raw.
Yes, that'll lead us into our next segment. The whole Rusev and Lana. What did you think about? First of all, let's go into the first segment, which was the Rusev getting mad at Lana and their like breakup.
Yeah. I don't know. Part of me thinks this is still the same with the Wyatts. I mean, this is just too early. I like Lana with Rusev, and I'm just a little bit worried about what's going to happen to her when she's not with him, because she's like this strong Russian proud woman, and it reminds me of Rocky IV. I've said that for months, but I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about what's going to happen to her once he comes away from him.
Those are the exact same thoughts. Like watching it on the show, super over. It's with the crowd, but it is what comes after. As far as I know, Lana is not an active competitor. To train her at this point, she's not going to be ring ready. Come on, we've had people like Eva Marie and Rosa Mendez in the ring. They've been training now for a couple of years and they're not ring ready.
No.
But so I can't see her doing anything else but managing. And as you say, a strong Russian woman, she gonna manage.
Exactly. And then I didn't think we'd see her again for the evening. And then she comes out to Ziggler.
Yes. That was she just comes out and awkwardly they look at each other, not even like sharing a word, and then make out. Maybe this is an apology to Ziggler to a certain extent. Here you go. And then crowd on form, one more time. Yeah. And I bet Ziggler was just thinking, oh, all right then.
I have to. What I do to earn my money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was random.
Yeah.
But
despite that, I feel this almost makes her seem like a heel, because she's just come out and Ziggler, thank God, was protecting himself by making himself not look like an idiot. He was looking around. He was assuming it was a setup.
Yeah. What's this about?
Which is smart. It's Ziggler protecting himself. Don't just, oh, a pretty lady. That's good on his part. But yeah, and what else can it be apart from Lana trying to set up Ziggler to make Rusev mad? That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. All I got from it was that she was trying to make him mad, because she kept turning around looking at the Titantron, and eventually he comes out and he's angry, obviously. So I don't know what they're doing, but I think they're going to break them up officially and have her go with someone like Ziggler. But random things that WWE do, and it's just too early for me. So.
Yeah, like the word I've heard from like other podcasts and I listen to is like Vince is really hot on her. But why? What are you going to do with her? Unless you're going to like have her brainwashed. Wrestling has had some weird storylines. But I suppose like brainwashing someone to change their language wouldn't be the weirdest, but in this day and age, it's been a while since we've had like crazy ones. And I don't know if anyone else remembers that Kofi Kingston used to have a Jamaican accent, which they kind of just ignored for a couple of weeks. Then he just did his normal voice, and they brought it up here and there in comedy things. But yeah, I just can't see a future for her.
No, not unless they play it really clever. But yeah, too soon for me. I like them together as a pair.
Yeah. Right, since we got onto Ziggler and Rusev, they are in the Intercontinental Elimination Chamber match. I had mixed feelings. I'm super excited. The Elimination Chamber is a big deal. Intercontinental title, hopefully it'll help make that a big deal. Ziggler and Rusev in it, fantastic idea. You had Sheamus and Ryback put in it at the beginning. Can you name the other two people in this match?
Do you know what? You were just saying all the names, and I can't think of who else is in it. Because we got
Rusev, Ziggler. We have Ryback and Sheamus that are put in at the beginning.
Yep.
And it is R-Truth and Wade Barrett. Do you remember when it was announced that they were in the chamber?
No, I don't, to be honest.
During the tag team title rematch. The commentators just threw it out on a whim that Rusev, R-Truth, and Barrett are in the match. It's ridiculous. Especially having two segments with Rusev involved. That wasn't mentioned that he was really in the chamber match. And to have three people just suddenly plopped in.
If there's anyone out there that's literally just hearing this now, like I am, then let me know in the comments, because that's news to me. And if they've just sprung it up on people during a match, oh dear, commentators.
that is bad booking. Like, I thought it was going to be like through the night we'd like discover, and like started off fine. Sheamus, Ryback, fine start. And they were involved in like the opening angle. They were involved with like talking about Daniel Bryan. Sheamus taking credit for ending him. Ryback defending him. And I'll hope through the night they're going to do big ones. Like the Ziggler one was fine. It's like, you've won a match, you're now in. How do you feel about that? And then just no one else was really mentioned.
Nope.
Even Rusev, like your biggest heel at the moment, wasn't like, oh yes, you're in the chamber. I will crush.
It's
poorly
done. And to be honest, this is a bit too soon, this pay-per-view, for me. There's no breathing time. We've literally just had Payback in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. We've got Extreme Rules. And then 2 weeks after that, we've got Money in the Bank. So it's just all too crammed together for me.
I do feel this pay-per-view has come about due to lack of foresight. Because the date is, what, the 31st of May? The last day of May, and May's been a free month. So they're wanting people to watch this pay-per-view, and hopefully, when it finishes, forget to unsubscribe, and then they'll be locked in for another month.
I see.
That's why it's suddenly come about. It's been, frankly, it should have just been planned from the start, just have pay-per-views that, if they just got rid of Payback, replaced it with Chamber, and we could have had a better build, but it's been like a snap decision. We need to lock people in for the month, which would be a clever strategy if we hadn't had a pay-per-view Monday.
Yeah. Needless to say, I'm looking forward to the Elimination Chamber. That's one of my favourite pay-per-views of the year, because it is brutal, and so many superstars just put their bodies on the line in that thing, and we've got a good combination of superstars. Kofi Kingston, always awesome in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I've always loved it, but since we got rid of the secondary main title, when we combined them, it did make Elimination Chamber, like, it didn't work anymore in the place it was. It was in that between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania point. So I'm glad it's now somewhere else. I hope it just becomes its own pay-per-view now.
Yeah.
Well, since we did the Intercontinental, the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match.
The Tag Team one. What I like about this is that the Tag Team division are getting a bit of attention here and being put in a big match on the pay-per-view. I'm excited.
When was the last time we had a tag team title match with a stipulation?
That's exactly it. Because I can't remember.
Apart from like we had like a 2 out of 3 falls, we've had that kind of thing, but no like TLC. If they've fallen on the pay-per-view, I think they might have had it. I don't even know. Like even on TLC, the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I don't remember the tag team titles getting involved in any of the stipulation ones.
Nope. And tag team titles used to play a big part of TLC matches. They were the belts to hang above that ring. So I don't know what's going on in the tag team division, but the fact that we're actually getting this, I'm pleased. So.
Well, I think it's like, I adore the New Day now they're heel. They have just gone at this role and they are playing it perfectly.
Yeah.
And Kid and Cesaro are just a phenomenal wrestling team that can just be faced. This was just a really, to steal a phrase from JR, organic switch in roles from heels to face with these two teams.
It's a good combination. I love Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Awesome tag team. They're just doing really well together. And as I say, New Day, they're growing on me. It's something about if they're heels that do really good job being heels, they can get themselves over and turn themselves into good guys, which they were intended to be from the beginning.
They've got that Edge and Christian vibe to me. Edge and Christian were career tag team heels, but you still wanted to see them. You wanted to see, for the benefit of those with flash photography, you wanted to see them doing stupid things. You liked Mick Foley catching them, pretending to be ill. They're boo, you're going to boo them, but you kind of enjoy them being there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what New Day's doing.
Exactly.
Playing by the Freebird rule, using twin magic with Kofi and Xavier, even though that's got some negative connotations to it, but it was done fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. You know, mid-card stuff going on, mid-card stories. That's what we need more of.
And then at least for the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match, we got a definite answer to all the teams that were involved, and they all got a little showing here.
Yep.
Because after the match they had on Raw, everyone ran out.
Yeah, even El Matadors.
Yes, they got the least of the offense. Like Lucha Dragon's got a few spots in. The Ascension managed to hit in a good move. But I think the Primetime Players got like they were the ones left standing at the end of it.
Yeah. I like Primetime Players. I think they're good. I like them.
I have wondered because they've been doing these backstage segments for what, like 2 months now?
Yeah.
Of just like impersonating people. They've been hit and miss, some good lines in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see what they can really do back in the ring. But yeah, this is also exciting. I just love the comment of just like, can't be an Elimination Chamber match. We can't fit in. We're just too big. From Big E. Yeah. That was just phenomenal.
Oh, I don't know who do you reckon will walk out tag team champs. Do you reckon they're going to retain?
I still want it to be New Day.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be something like, they need to address the fact, is all 3 members of New Day going to be in the pod?
Yeah.
Either that, or they're going to have who's not in the pod will have to do some sort of sneaky thing, you know, like they've done with Hornswoggle in the past. Or actually, Shawn Michaels did, where he managed to come in through a trap door from the bottom and sneak into the chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods look similar and what they did on Raw.
Well, that
they could do something sneaky.
Chamber, no DQ, so it doesn't really matter.
So yeah, yeah.
But they just need to do. I think it needs to be a sneaky win, and I think the New Day, because they're on such a roll, need to retain.
Yeah, they will. They will definitely.
Okay, so Dean Ambrose. Oh. It was the Dean Ambrose show. He was our main event guy. From him just appearing in the back, just having the balls to walk into the authorities' office and offer Seth Rollins a rematch. Yeah. I just loved it so much.
I know. I'll tell you what, Daniel Bryan was a crushing blow to me, him leaving. But I kind of looked at the whole situation as right, who do I get invested in now? And Dean Ambrose is my guy. I'm behind him. Oh, he was awesome on Raw. And what I really love about this is that feud between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose is my favourite feud of last year. Even though we got a bit of a screwy finish at the end. Screwy, shitty finish, but it's back on track. And it was leading into that. Dean Ambrose was the guy. Yeah. With John Cena, they were both our top baby faces. Dean Ambrose just going off for a trip around the city and then coming back with a hot dog cart. Mm-hmm. The decent, contract on a pole match that Cena and Ambrose had to get the match with Seth. Lots of good stuff. And then he's had this lull for the last 5 months. Hopefully we can get past that. The finish to Raw booked him strong. This was the main problem when Daniel Bryan was chasing the title. Because these segments would always end with just Daniel Bryan getting just
beaten down constantly. This, even though Ambrose did end up face down on the floor at the end of the night, he took on all the authority himself. He outsmarted them and got himself in the title match by threatening to kill Seth Rollins with these cinder blocks he snuck into the arena. Does nobody check these things?
Apparently not. Last year they made their way into the arena, done it again.
Though we do know Dean Ambrose's magic from that time that he appeared he appeared where the centre of the cinder blocks were meant to be. I don't know
how long he was there for.
Oh, that was phenomenal. But yeah. So I'm just looking more wacky hijinks from him.
Well, yeah, his character's so broad. You can do so much with him. You can have him go out in the streets. That's that time he got the train and brought back a load of hot dogs. Amazing.
He knows his character. He's got phenomenal in ring. That was always the issue with Daniel Bryan. As much as I love him, he didn't have sort of the huge confidence on the mic. He was quite a Bret Hart. Bret Hart would just cut straight-laced promos, and that was him. That was who he was. Dean Ambrose has more character to him, which gives you a bit more potential for like build-ups rather than just having a phenomenal match. You can have like interesting builds to them.
Yeah, he's got a lot of. I don't know. I just think WWE. What happened last year was obviously that he was at the top. I think the way they booked that finish with the feud with Seth Rollins just kind of, I don't know, it didn't go too well in his favor. And then as Ricky said, it went through this lull period. But now I think WWE have realized that if they push him and keep him where he is, he's got a lot of momentum and people can really get behind him. And the fact that you've got two great wrestlers, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, going into
so much chemistry together.
Once again, the chemistry, everything that goes into it with these guys, the history, nothing but good. It can't do anything but good for these guys, especially Dean Ambrose.
And as the authority goes, you've got to give a shout out to J&J Security. Just how phenomenal they are as Seth's cronies. The new Briscoe and Patterson.
Yeah.
Just Jamie Noble and his weird voice. And then Joe Mercury getting ready to make a shocking sort of statement. Getting cut off by Dean Ambrose, of course, because he just doesn't talk for no reason.
I loved that when he was getting all emotional. And Stephanie was like, he's just clearly cares so much about you. So much.
And then it's got a good amount of comedy. WWE's missed some like decent comedy, not just like getting a Santino out there, but just like injecting it in. The Rock, he only got over really because of his promos and like a good bit of comedy here and there. Like one of my other favorite moments was like Ambrose is in the ring, like Stephanie's like, "Well, Seth's a fighting champion. Get him, Seth." It's like, okay. And it's that Triple H just not getting physically involved.
No. And he seems to be taking a bit of a step back, and Stephanie's the one in charge of these segments. Triple H is there, but he's not really doing much.
No. And like, your guy's getting beaten up, but you're not willing to get in there and help.
Yeah. He's Triple H.
Maybe this is just they're like cutting down on him and Steph being there in general, which frankly, I'm not really against. I'm so glad that Stephanie's been away. I've been so sick of just Triple H and Stephanie segment talking and the backstage talking and just being in charge. Like this segment started off a bit like that. It's like, I sort of like dreaded it to start. Stephanie and Triple H just doing their usual yakky until it was saved by J&J.
Yeah.
So I think them having a step back will really help speed things along.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. Let's get on to our WWE champion. What do you think of Seth Rollins as our champion?
Well, if you go and check out my live reaction cam, you will see my reaction. And it hasn't changed since. The moment that he got that pin over Roman Reigns, become the champion, I jumped out of that chair with excitement. And I'm still excited about the fact that he's champion. Because it's not the normal guy like John Cena, Roddy, it's Seth Rollins. He's not the biggest guy, but I love Seth Rollins. And although the reign has been a bit dull in places, I don't think that's necessarily to do with him.
That is what I was going to ask. Like, how do you Not the fact that it is him champion. How do you feel he has done as champion? Like what they've made him do as well.
He's having a much better reign than Randy Orton did. He's much more entertaining. As I say, it's not necessarily him, it's the way he's booked and who he's with. I think we sometimes get a bit too much of him coming out with the Authority and him being like the chicken heel. I think every now and then he needs to perhaps show some balls and show why he is champion.
My big issue at the moment is this whole Kane and Seth thing. Just, there doesn't seem to be any sort of payoff. Not that anybody wants to see the Kane and Seth match, but if you've been building for this for a while now, there's no like sign of it happening, or Kane leaving, or them making up. And for Seth being the master of human chess, intelligent, why are you just intentionally pissing off the guy that can make matches? Like tonight, Kane did everything he could at Payback to help him win.
Yep.
And Seth Rollins to him is just like, you'd better be thanking me for keeping your job. That just, I know he's arrogant, but he shouldn't be a moron.
No.
That really annoys me.
Yeah.
Because he was meant to be, where's the architect? The architect of a dream.
Yeah, I did love that.
But I just don't get the him and Kane thing. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. This is all, to be honest, I think this is all because this is going to be centered around Kane more and more as we go into SummerSlam. I think he's probably going to retire. I think we're going to see a slow face turn from Kane.
Damn, it is slow.
To be honest, I think they could have done this story with someone else, not Seth Rollins, because as Ricky says, he's the champion. He needs everyone on his side if he's within the Authority. Why turn on a guy like Kane? God knows. But I think they're building towards Kane turning face, doing one more run in his red attire, and leaving this year.
Okay. I feel it's not. I like Kane in this role. I think it's better than him wrestling because he has slowed down, and like you do want to see a guy sort of like go out before they Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan it, where it's almost a bit sad to watch them.
He flared it.
If you saw Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair in TNA, that was painful to watch. These two like legends just
so melty.
Yeah. Yeah, look like the wax figurines that have been in the sun a little too long.
Yeah. But yeah, I like this Seth Rollins title run. It's good, but come on, give us a bit more balls. The writers, this is to the writers, because he doesn't go out there saying what he wants to say. It's the writers. Give him some more balls. He's the champion, for God's sake.
I do think he got shot in the foot a bit with the taking away of the curb stomp, because the curb stomp was so over. Such a good move. You can hit out of nowhere. He introduced this headlock face buster thing that never got named or really used since. And now it looks like he is transitioning into using the pedigree as his finisher. What do you think of him having the pedigree?
I think I'd take that as a sign that Triple H, going back to him, is handing over the reins now. He's really taken a big step back and said, "Yeah, just use my finisher." So, I mean, it's we've seen it a million times before, the pedigree, but it is what it is. Whether he finds something at some point down the line that's better than the curb stomp,
it's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard.
And I do think he does need to work on his pedigree a bit more, especially like the one at Payback wasn't that great looking.
He needs to hold the arms longer.
Oh yeah, that is our champion, and he's not the strongest competitor on the roster like we've had with Brock Lesnar, but at least he's here.
He's here.
And usable.
Exactly. He's a fighting champion.
Okay, so on a week-to-week basis, what do you look forward for? Like, say, from January to now, from week-to-week basis, what have you been looking forward to each week on Raw, or from WWE in general?
I look forward to watching WWE. I wouldn't watch it if I wasn't looking forward to it. But the thing is, I get to these Raws, and I'm trying to find a reason that I'm excited. What is it that I'm excited about? And for me, it can really just come down to one or two superstars. Dean Ambrose for one, Daniel Bryan was, and Ziggler. But story-wise, it's been pretty lackluster since January for me, apart from WrestleMania and perhaps the night after, and a couple of Raws since. Nothing has brought me back each week thinking, oh, I'm really looking forward to this.
Exactly.
It's just so... Ugh.
In the past year, can you think of a storyline that you've really felt invested in from beginning to conclusion?
Are we allowed to go back to 2014, not like last year?
Yeah, just go with the last one you can think of.
Okay, then yeah, the one I got really invested in was Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
That blew me away because they're both incredible in the ring. And the story, it just got really intense and it culminated in Hell in the Cell. That I got really invested in.
Yeah, you had Dean Ambrose saying, I'm never ever going to let you cash in the title, stalking him.
Yep.
You had the best ever lumberjack match I have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard a lumberjack match, but they just managed to deliver. Yeah, and for a while there was a point where SmackDown was the Dean and Seth show when they split up, and they were just having massive rivalry.
That's what if that was happening now, like I mean, it obviously is, but that is what I get excited about. A big feud taking place, like verbally, physically in the ring, and what they were doing last year with that, that car thing at the backstage fights. They were jumping off the side in the arena. It's just all stuff like that. That's what a feud is all about. It takes place over several months, and it just gets more and more intense, and it culminates in something like Hell in a Cell. That's what I look forward to. But at the moment, there's just nothing like that I can get behind. But I'll still watch it because I want to be surprised.
Yeah, I feel the same. There's been no feuds to really get your teeth into, so I'm looking for a Ziggler and Ambrose to be out there. So you're going to get a decent match, because I'm really into like wrestling quality. But also, you can't just have a decent match for no reason. It's good to watch, but you're less invested if there's no reason to care.
No, exactly.
And like Ziggler just always putting it out in the ring just gets so overlooked just because there's no reason to care for his victories. His wins and losses mean nothing.
So when you sit down and watch Raw with me, what are you getting behind at the moment? What are you looking
at the moment? One of my favourite segments is the John Cena Invitational, because it's all fresh matches, and he always cuts a decent promo beforehand. Love him or hate him, he is the best wrestler. And I use that in the broad sense of the whole package, the look, the talk, the in-ring. John Cena's in-ring is so underrated. He has more moves than people think he does. And when have you ever seen really a bad John Cena match? A boring John Cena match is a different thing. Him against Randy Orton for the 1,000th time can be boring. But if you take the match itself, the quality of the match is still a high quality. So I feel John Cena always performs well. And these invitationals I've just loved. He's just gone out there, put effort, and he genuinely wants to help these guys.
Yep. He does. I think people just love to hate Cena because it's a thing to do. Deep down, everybody, they do like Cena. I like Cena. I've complained about him in the past, but he's Cena.
And I feel they hate him more just because WWE has not put the effort into building someone else up.
Exactly.
They're just too worried to pull the trigger on someone else. And I don't know why. And I don't know why we can't get storylines for lower guys. Back in the Attitude Era, I won't harp on, Attitude was so much better. It had its flaws, definitely did. But everyone was over. Too Cool was an amazing tag team. Edge and Christian, the Hardys, Dudleys, they all had storylines. You had your mid-cards, you had Perry Saturn with Moppy for no reason. But it was a fun storyline. They had pay-per-view storylines. Dean Malenko spying on Lita in the shower led to a big match, and they had segments. The lower card guys had all these storylines and feuds. Lita and Eddie Guerrero together. Just so many. And everyone would get cheered and booed. But now they just throw out R-Truth and Stardust just in a match. There's no point in just putting a match without stakes. just having it on the show is just pure filler. Like, I felt so sorry for Stardust on Monday. He was just shoved out there. Do you even remember he had a match with Ziggler before Ziggler's interview?
Yeah, I was just getting the bite to eat, and I kind of walked out and saw them wrestling, and it caught me off guard. It did. I mean, it was random.
And then it was completely outshone by the fact that he kissed Lana and had a little scuffle with Rusev.
Yeah.
There was no point to him having the match. He should have just come out and been interviewed.
Exactly. I don't know. To be honest, a character like Stardust is big. You could do a lot with him, and the fact that that thing got scrapped with him and his brother Goldust, big shame. But to be honest, a character like Stardust, you can do a lot with him because he's big. He's a big character. Just whack him out on TV with Ziggler and get him, get beat. Yeah. It's just silly.
And as much of a fan of wrestling as I am, like I really do like seeing it, and we do get more wrestling and better quality wrestling than we used to get in the Attitude Era. Like you'd be lucky to get like a 10-minute match in the Attitude Era. But that did also make matches more special when they happened. And that did give them time to focus more on story. Like, how can we now have a 3-hour Raw that seems to have less story than we used to have on a 2-hour Raw?
Yep.
And they can't say, oh, we just don't know how to write that many hours. Then don't do it.
Yeah.
But then also, if you look back in the day, you had Raw and SmackDown. That was 4 hours. SmackDown is not used at all now.
No.
So technically, they're writing 1 hour less than they used to with storylines. Because storylines used to go from Raw to SmackDown. It would be a continuous thing.
Yep. Well, I think the big difference now is instead of having Pat Patterson and Vince McMahon sitting by a pool writing TV, you've now got a bunch of people that don't know wrestling.
And you've got Vince telling them at the last minute, no, I don't like it. It needs to do what he did back in the day, where he allocated people to people. So we'd have like, you are going to focus on giving Austin a storyline and working on where he's going.
Exactly.
Vince at the moment is just, oh, I don't like what you're doing. I'm going to just take in charge of all of it. And then just burns himself out because he is getting on.
He is. He's probably got, what, 10, 20 people writing Raw for him. You could have 3-4 people go write the main event superstars. You 3 go write the mid card, and you divas. And then you could have this deep storied roster going on, and this is what I would get excited about going into Raws and pay-per-views, is a story for each superstar. Like mid-card, intercontinental story, tag team story going on, divas as well. It's just, that's one thing I loved about the Attitude Era, is that everyone had a story. Al Snow, random stories. He had the hardcore title. It's just
Boss man stealing his dog.
Yeah, that was what that sort of stuff was what was exciting about WWE, and that's what I want now.
That's what we're just missing. Is just they don't seem like Fandango should be a fun character that we enjoy, but they just don't give him anything. Adam Rose was so over in London last year, and he could have been huge, but he came up and they just didn't have a story for him, and then never did.
No. I don't know, they just don't have any faith. It's either they don't have any faith in their talent, or they just don't want to take the risk of it failing. I don't know.
That's the thing. What is the risk? What is the harm giving Adam Rose a mic and let him go out and do a promo? If he fails, you just bury him. If he succeeds, then you go with him.
Yep.
Like the biggest example that I think also killed the momentum of the locker room is the Zack Ryder. He's a guy that completely got over on his own merit, with his own plan, with his own story, his own gimmick. And WWE just crushed him. They didn't want him in that position, so they just killed his gimmick, made him a joke, and look at him now. Do you even remember he was on Raw?
Yep, I do. I hadn't been... I took a long break from wrestling, and I come back, and Zack Ryder was in this feud with... By the way, he got thrown off stage by Kane, all that sort of stuff. But I liked him. I was behind him. He was probably actually one of the first guys I got behind. But here we are all these years later, and he's just chucked out every now and then. But
exactly, he was partnered with Fandango for no reason.
I mean, he had the whole catchphrase, the woo woo woo. People were behind that.
His YouTube show.
It's just, it doesn't make sense. They should have capitalized on that. Just like Cesaro, WrestleMania 30, won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Like the night after, the crowd on Raw really behind him, and then you get Vince saying on Austin's podcast, "It's not really for me."
And then they shoved him with Heyman without a plan, and they just wanted, Heyman, you focus on Brock Lesnar, but why not do anything with Cesaro? You put him with him. Why not do something with them? Like, I thought at that point we could have a Brock Lesnar Cesaro match, but fast forward to the January 2015, and that would be a Brock Lesnar versus Cesaro. That'll never happen. Thankfully, he's found his footing with Tyson Kidd, and they're a good tag team, but he could be main eventing by now. Such a wasted opportunity.
Basically, if I just get the feeling that if Triple H, Vince McMahon doesn't like that person, and I mean that person as an individual, they'll perhaps keep him on the pay, but they're not going anywhere. That's what I think. I think it's a personal thing sometimes.
And it does seem like Triple H is more willing to give people shots and has less he's not looking for specific things. Like Vince Bobby Lashley, he's a star, even though everyone hates him. Big Show, he's a star, even though everyone hates him. And Big Show he's an attraction, he's a giant, but he's not what we want to see in storyline.
Not anymore.
And Triple H is just more willing. If you look at NXT, you've got the smaller, more agile guys that are higher work rate, but you do have bigger guys sort of coming up and in there, but they just need more seasoning before they can come through.
You do. But with these guys in NXT, there's seasoning, and it's good for them because people are getting excited when they appear on Raw. So I don't know. I think we could be in for a transitional period here where we get people we know coming up to the roster who are new to a lot of people, but a lot of people do know them, and they're seasoning right now. They're coming up. People are excited, and that could be good for the mid card.
Very good. But a Ziggler, a guy that really should always be in a storyline. For Sheamus, him and Ziggler had this thing, but they didn't. I don't know what it was. They just didn't have a story for it. They just had a series of matches where Sheamus would cheat, Ziggler would try and win with guts, and there was nothing more than that. Why wasn't it personal? Why weren't there attacks in the back? Why didn't Ziggler try and get some sort of Sheamus didn't deliver on a stipulation? We need to have something. There was a contract signed for us to have a kiss my ass match. I won. Sheamus broke it. There should be some sort of repercussion, but there was nothing. Nothing said in storyline. Nothing said by commentators.
Nothing.
And they just had a series of matches without real stakes.
Nope.
And they did it backwards. They started off with a stipulation match and then went into just having a clean singles match. That's also a problem where we get to with these named pay-per-views of this is when we will have TLC. This is when we will have Hell in the Cell. So you have a feud start with a Hell in the Cell goddamn match.
Yeah.
And then go into a normal match. So you've lost your...
That's one of the biggest problems. It's too much of a procedure. Therefore, it's too predictable. Because there's a Hell in the Cell coming up. So I guess whatever main event superstars are feuding at the moment are going to end up in Hell in the Cell.
Last year, we were just lucky. That's where Ambrose and Seth Rollins ended up.
Yeah. Luckily that particular feud was great, and it served its purpose being in a Hell in the Cell. But it's just too predictable. It's just too predictable. If they're going to have these theme pay-per-views, I don't know. I think they should scrap a lot of them. Yeah.
I think we don't need to add more like they've done with Elimination Chamber, even though that's just to try and keep subscribers. They need to just spread them out more. There's fine having some unique ones. I believe King in the Ring should be a pay-per-view because that's a unique thing, seeing guys have multiple matches.
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber, I like again because that's just this whole big thing, and you're never going to really build up to an Elimination Chamber match. So having that as a static position is fine. But a Hell in the Cell, that's something that should be a really personal finish to a feud.
One thing about pay-per-views, guys, I don't know if you're the same, but I think they need to make each pay-per-view Titantron and staging area its own character. Like if you're in Hell in a Cell, put all the cage work around the side of the stage, like cars, like we used to get.
Yeah, now it's just
like a stage.
It's TLC, so we'll just put some tables on the same stage we use for every other event.
Yeah, it doesn't set itself apart from any other pay-per-view apart from the name on the side of the ring.
Which now they can just change with a button because it's electronic.
It's just getting lazy. I know they probably look at it as a modern thing to do, but I think it's just lazy.
Well, and it does save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Making a giant throne that sits over your TV can't be cheap.
Yeah.
And for one single use.
Yeah.
And then get taken away.
Yeah. I get it. I do. It's just I miss those sort of things. But
I think our biggest problem at the moment is long-term booking doesn't seem to be there. It seems like it's Vince is just like cutting things off. He doesn't let writers get to their conclusion.
No.
I think they're almost thrown out there with like, figure out what to do week to week. That's not how you should be booking. You should have a beginning and then you need to weave in where it's going to a finish. Like the corporate ministry, how long was there a mysterious figure and how long did that build over?
Yeah.
To then like the final reveal of Vince McMahon.
Exactly. He's just repeating the same thing, expecting different results. And how long can you really do that for? Because he's been doing it for a long time. A long time.
In the last year, the best built feud was Miz and Mizdow. That had like a slow build to it. It like got there. You really wanted to see that turn, even though they messed it up at WrestleMania with Big Show winning the Battle Royale. And then they also messed up the finish. But the feud getting to that point was really well built.
There was
they just killed it at the end.
Yeah. We need more payoffs. We need a reason to be like, yeah, I know this is going to end. It's going to end big. And I can't wait to get there. But I've lost faith in them being able to do that.
Okay. Before we start...
Sorry, that's my laptop telling me to update itself. Thank you.
Good. Cheers for that laptop.
Yeah.
So before we start to turn into grumpy old men talking about the old days and how it's good, let's put a question to you. What is the best storyline ever? What's the best storyline you've enjoyed in wrestling? Like a feud beginning to end.
Do you want to know one of mine?
Go on then.
One that I will never ever forget because it involved 6 men. And it all ended in a Hell in a Cell match. That feud, you literally had Kurt Angle, Undertaker, The Rock, Austin, Rikishi, and Triple H all in a feud. But these all started with feuds, and they all came together. And it was a long built feud. And it ended in this huge way. That's one of my favourite feud of all time. That feud right there. Because it all, as I say, you had Triple H and Kurt Angle feuding. You had Austin and The Rock. You had Triple H chucked in there with Rikishi, trying to run over Stone Cold. It all built together, and it just seemed to me as if they actually had a long-term plan. And that was where they went. That was probably my favourite because it was exciting. You had so much going on.
They managed to make separate feuds intertwined together.
Yeah, exactly. And big moments. And when you had Mick Foley come in and as the basically that was probably one of my favourite eras was when Mick Foley was commissioner.
Yes. And I love that.
To me, he set up the greatest feud of all time. Good. I loved it.
One of mine, I have to say, Eddie Guerrero and JBL, they had a massive long feud, and the title switched back and forth a few times, but it's always had meaning when doing so. And that bloody, the only good ball rope, like Russian chain match they had this year, but they did it with a cowbell and a rope. The best one I've ever seen. That was like one of their biggest matches. And it's just feud was just got personal, lots of shots against the other guy, and they both looked really good coming out of it. So yeah, let us know your best feuds, your best sort of storylines beginning to end.
Damn good idea. Put it all in the comments below.
Right. You can also let us know. This was our first one, so please give us any constructive criticism. Let us know better ways to do things, how we sounded, because we do need to test out this mic and are looking into getting better microphones.
That's something we'll do. The things will improve. We just got to work out a few things, guys. But stick with us because we've got a lot of ideas we want to talk about with you guys, and put it all in the section below. You can talk to us. We will look and we will read them. So just stick with us.
So on this channel, which is WWLeeTV.
WWLeeTV with my guest here, Ricky from Blackwhitesoul. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and we will see you all soon. Ciao for now.
TTFN.